Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 2, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 3-4. It is entitled Ascension. So this is everybody's favorite chapter, of course, and it's a little tricky in a couple areas, but I do have to give the game developers credit. It is very well checkpointed. It's just that it's awkward to maneuver this tank. I personally don't feel that this should be in the game. There is another like a vehicle riding section at the end of the game where you're on a Reaver, and I think that works really well. But this is it's not fun, and that's the big problem about it. So the guys on the ground that just shoot normal guns, they're not going to kill you. They might finish you off if you're at the verge of death, but you need to mainly watch out for the boomers and the turrets especially. So what happens is when the tank gets on fire, you need to stop and let Baird repair it. How do you do that? Well, you just simply stay in place or move somewhere else in cover, and just after about 5 seconds you'll be regenerated all the way. Pretty much he'll say that the tank is fixed and that everything's fine with it. So it does have that same sort of regenerating health system, but sometimes you get killed so fast in this that you don't have a chance to recover. And the controls for this are fairly simple. You press the A button to do a boost, and you fire in the normal manner that you always fire, and you can also get an active reload with this tank. I believe it does more damage. I don't think it has any other perk for the active reload. It's a tricky active reload though. It's sort of the same active reload that the Retro Lancer had in the third game. It's slow, and while you're waiting for the reload, you're just vulnerable in the tank. So you have to play this very carefully. In particular, one part right before the cave, it is an egregiously bad part. Just for the fact that once enemies spawn, you cannot stay alive unless you get the hell out of the position that you're in and go behind some cover and deal with the enemies. I really don't know how they expect you to stay alive on this part. It's at the end though, so we have enough time to talk about the normal parts of this. Unfortunately, there's 2 ice sections, and the ice parts, they're kind of inscrutable to me because I don't really understand again how they expect you to anticipate, and also how they expect you to react with this slow tank. React, I say, to the ice patches breaking on you, because these ice patches, these holes in the ice lake, they can appear right in front of you very quickly, and unless you're going very, very slowly, you really can't react in time, and you'll fall in the water, and it's a fail state. So it's coming up in a moment, and there's two of those sections. The second one has some enemies firing at you too, just to round it off and make it nice and perfect for you. And it's really up to you how you want to proceed. I don't even engage the enemies, but it should be coming up. And as bad as these parts are, they're well checkpointed though. I have to say, there's a checkpoint at the very beginning of it and at the very end of it. On the second one, however, you do have to kill a couple of Reavers before you get to the ice lake, and you have to do that every time, unfortunately. But it's right over here, and what I would recommend is that you just go very slowly, and you just watch out for the patches of ice as they appear. So basically what this video is too is every time I get to a checkpoint, there's going to be a rough edit, pretty much because it's so easy to die on all of these sections that it's a video editor's nightmare. It really is. But did you see how we got a checkpoint right as we entered that lake, and then right as we like, we don't have to kill these guys to get the checkpoint. We already have the checkpoint. But if you do die here, you'll have to kill these ones before you go on the lake, and they're really not that bad. An active reload, I believe, it takes just 2 shots to take them down. Otherwise, it's 3 to 4. But this is, watch this edit. Oh, I don't have an edit over here. I actually did this on my first attempt. It's pretty rough because you also have enemies firing at you, so you can boost if you want to. It's not the boosting does not make you more vulnerable or cause the ice to break. So there really are no tips aside from just going slow, because you really have to have enough time to react. But unfortunately, if you take too much time, the irony is that the ice can break under you too. So it's just overall, I didn't want to harp on it too much, but it's just a deplorable section that is not fun and is egregious in a couple parts. I mean, if you find it fun, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about that. You know, don't just take my word for it. It's just that if we're here to play Gears of War, you know, this is not Gears of War. I just always rue these sections. I hate them, and that's all I'll say about it in criticism. But you definitely have to watch out for those boomers, because they will take a lot of damage off of you, and you don't see the damage that you incur. Like, there is no visual sign except for the fire. I mean, there is no like omen in the middle of the screen that shows you, you know, how bad you are. But advice again, before you proceed to an area, just make sure that you're completely fully regenerated, and you'll know that because Baird will say that everything's fine with the tank and you can go. On those rare times that he doesn't say anything, just wait until all the fires have extinguished. Wait about 5 seconds, and then you can move forward. But this section that's coming up over here, I wasn't aware that it had a checkpoint on. There's a cutscene, and then you get a checkpoint, but I didn't remember it being that way. So I don't think that they put in a new checkpoint. I think it was just my misremembering it. Over here there are 2 cedars on those ridges over there. It's hard to see them, but they'll take you out really fast. So what happens is you'll kill a bunch of reavers and things like that. I'm talking about at the fort where the gate is. You'll kill a bunch of reavers. You'll kill a bunch of ground-based enemies. And then you'll go down the hill a little bit, and all of a sudden, everybody just appears and starts shooting at you. The guys in the tower, everybody on the fort, on the ground. You can't possibly survive. So when all of the enemies spawn, you have to reverse and get out of there. I tried, because I remember on my first walkthrough of this game, I gave you that same advice, and I tried to do it differently here by just sitting there vulnerable, tried to shoot everybody and see if I could clear it. Maybe you can, but I cannot do it. It's just not possible, I don't think. So I'll show you the method that I use, and it's basically you want to go down the hill backwards, and then when you hear somebody says something, one of your team, it's either Cole or Baird, they'll say something, and then you want to back on out of there and get behind cover, and then just shoot around the cover until you kill everything. Something about it's. I think it's a line by Baird, and it's something about take out the tower or something. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about it when it comes. We're almost on that part. We'll have a checkpoint right over here. There will be a couple more Reavers. And then I think there's 3 of them. So here's the first one. I wish the active reload was a little faster too, because the gun is not that fantastic. It does have a good amount of splash that it deals enemies, but it's not like you have a chain gun and then you have the rockets. You just have the rockets, and while you're waiting to reload, you just get murdered. So, okay, I think that's the last one. And then as you push up here, there'll be one more Reaver on top of a cliff or something right up here. Right over here. And then up and to the right, that's the really bad part. So you'll push forward. Don't worry about pushing forward at this point. You're going to get a checkpoint right after this cutscene. Right over here. And again, I wasn't aware that you got a checkpoint over here, but I'm sure you did. It's nice. Okay, it's nice that I'm grateful for the checkpoint, but it's that one part after it that's so bad. So after you do get that cutscene, that's not the bad part. Like you can stay over here, where I just was a moment ago. That is not a good place to be when you go down the hill and spawn the next wave. Because it's just everybody and their fucking brother is shooting at you, and Reavers and ground-based enemies. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So what I assume they want you to do is just go down the hill in the normal manner, but then everybody spawns and you're completely vulnerable and you die in 1 second. It's bad. It's really badly made. Because someone will say shoot the tower, and then you'll shoot the tower, but that's not going to end the fight. You still have everybody else to deal with. So you want to make sure that when you go down the hill, make sure everybody's dead. Every last person. I think there was a Reaver flying around when I go down there. But you can't hit the Reavers if they're too far in the distance. When you hover the reticle over them, it won't turn red. So they're pretty much the background at that point. But when they do come closer, they are a threat, and then you can hit them as well. The reticle will turn red normally. Okay, and it's just the bad part about it too is that there's no checkpoint either. So you do quite a lot of work here, and then no checkpoint. The good thing is though, there isn't much to do. So here's how we do it. You want to go backwards down the hill. So you need to do this very carefully. Mind that you don't fall off the cliff. It's awkward and it's just shitty. But this is the only way that I know that it works. So you go down backwards, and then the moment your teammates say shoot the tower or take out the tower, then you want to boost it on up the hill. So there we go. They set it, then boost up here. Sometimes you can't make it, and you'll get killed, and that's really sad. It's a sad situation. It's badly made, like I said, and it's just sad that an overall very well made game has this sort of section in it. And then as you're creeping around this corner, make sure that they don't have a line of sight on you, because they will destroy you very fast. And what you're looking to do here, you want to shoot the tower and any enemies on the tower, any enemies at the gate. So do you see right here? I was in a pretty bad spot. I accidentally went forward there, and we're at the verge of death. So now we have to hide back here and, you know, pray that we don't die and let the tank get fixed. Wait till it's fully fixed, and then just come forward over here. Take out that tower. Take anybody out behind a turret. And there's also there might be some ground-based enemies too. But do you see this? All of this stuff they expect you to do at that point of vulnerability over there, where everybody's shooting at you. So it's a really bad joke. And I really don't care one way or the other in saying this, but the tank controls are abysmal. When you're driving something in a game like this, the controls should not be awkward. They should be fluid and fun to use and responsive. And then look at this. I barely made it in here. There was, I think, a Reaver flying around and he was shooting at me right now. I could not fucking get through the gate here. It was so exasperating. I'm just like, shit, get me in there, man. Get me out of this hell. There we go. God, and then I got the checkpoint. I was so close to the checkpoint there. I was just, it's so difficult too on insane difficulty where you get put down like a goddamn dog. Really, I mean, it's true. And it's really no better in here either. There's a couple of fights and you kind of have to do the same method of hiding behind the geometry. There are there's a couple of, I think there's two fights. There's one fight that has a horrendous checkpoint where you jump off of a cliff, you land, the tank has to be repaired, you can't move, and 3 corpsers spawn out of the darkness, and you have to shoot them. I think it's you get a random pattern of when they open up their claws, because you can't damage them when they have their claws shielding their face. So you have to do it very quickly. I mean, you get killed instantaneously, seemingly. It's really bad unless you start staggering the enemies and get them killed. You just can't do anything. And it's not this. It's coming up over here. But I do wish the boost maybe propelled you a little bit farther, or maybe don't even have a boost, just have the roadie run equivalent. Good thing too, the next chapter is one of my favorite chapters, so that was one of the things I was looking forward to, getting out of this garbage. I mean, let's face it, it is garbage, and I hate saying that too, because it comes off as being too negative. So just a lot of driving, a lot of boosting, and again, the checkpoints is not very good. I think this is the bad checkpoint. Yes, okay, so when you land down here, you're stuck. You cannot move. And the corpsers will start to spawn. There's one to the left, one in the middle, and one to the right. And you have to wait to see which one is going to open up, and then you start firing. Blind firing is perfectly valid too, because sometimes aiming in it and using these sights, it just slows you down. So shoot him in the face. Just start shooting them in the face. Hopefully the spread will do the job for you if you're a little bit off on your aiming. I got the go-ahead here, but I think I was stuck. Yeah, I cannot move. See, I went a little forward. Everything's finished, but I got stuck in the geometry. Don't you just love that? Just love that. But fortunately, there's only one more part left, and it's actually quite a difficult part because you're asked to kill 3 Brumacs who have a ton of HP. and there's three of them firing rockets at you at the same time. You're thinking, how is this even how am I even supposed to do this? Well, you've got to deal with the awkwardness of the mobility, and you have to be moving around. You have to be moving around on this part. So the first one shows up over to the right, but I'm not even going to wait for him. I'm going to come over here so that I get a little bit of protection. There's one in the middle right here that I'm going to start firing at. When they start firing their rockets at you, you really need to move. I think you can take a couple before you need to heal. But if too many of them hit you, it doesn't even let Baird heal. It just goes into the fail state. So just keep moving around, keep boosting, and it will eventually fall into place for you. See, now there was a necessity here for me to move over to the left because I had to watch out for the Brumac over to the left. Anyway, I hope that helped you out. It's mainly that one part that a lot of folks are going to have problems with, and too bad. It really is too bad because it had good intentions, I could tell that, but it just falls apart. Anyway, I will see you in the 5th chapter. Please take care.